Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games. Here today to take a look at Hungry Life North America by Sharkee Games. So to be clear, this Hungry Life is called Hungry Life North America because there are currently two versions out right now, the Hungry Life North America and the Hungry Life Europe. Maybe if this game does well, Sharkee Games will branch out to do other continents as well, but for now these are the two that are available. I only have the North America one because living in North America, it was of more use to me here for teaching things about North American animals. And that's what this game does. It teaches about animals and habitats and human impact on those kinds of things. How well does it teach that? Well, let me take you to the report card and I'll tell you. Looking at the number of players for Hungry Life, I'm going to give it a B. My B is usually the range of 2 to 4 players, but this one, while it says it plays 2 to 5, I really don't recommend it for 2 players. I played a few games with just 2 players, and I found it was just very sort of, it was not nearly as interesting as when you start to add more players. I played with a 4-player game, haven't played with a 5-player game, but the 4-player game suddenly, it was much more engaging. There was more things happening on the board and things when you were playing cards where you had to give animals back to people's hands. It was more interesting than just, well, here, you take one and the rest go to the discard. It was a more interesting game with the more players. So I definitely recommend it for 4. I don't think it's such a great game with 2, but 4, it definitely starts to get a lot better. So in that way, then I say, maybe 3 to 5 players. So it's still within that range. So B. For learning, I'm going to give this game an A+. This game is absolutely amazing for the amount of information that's contained within here. I mean, the game, you see, it's just a little tiny box. I mean, I haven't taken the measurements, but I think this game might even rival Tiny Polka Dot for smallest box I've seen, minus the story cubes. I guess back to the point here, it's a tiny little box, but it's just cards. The game is all just cards. But on every card, there is a lot of information. Not only do you have 125 cards of different animals of North America, and there's just so many different kinds. There's fish and insects and all kinds of mammals and lizards, etc. Spiders, all these different animals and things. But there's in the game, but there's also on every card, it includes such information as their trophic level, which tells what stage are they at in the food chain. Are they the apex predator, or are they the producer, like the one that, like the plant that gets eaten? Are they endangered? Their size, their weight, their general population. Is the population on the increase, the decrease? How long do they live? I mean, there's just every card is just like packed with information. Now, most of this information you're not going to need for the game, but it's there. And I mean, you could do more with this, and you could. It's just amazing, like how much information is on the game. So if you wanted to use it as a launching point for like some kind of inquiry or something, it could definitely do that. I mean, there's other ways to be playing it too. I'm thinking of, and I'll talk more about that later. But I just think that there's like the amount of information that's packed into this little tiny box is absolutely amazing. So well done, Sharkee Games. For fun, I'm going to give the game a B. I think the game has some nice elements of planning your moves and trying to, a little bit of take that sometimes when you're putting down, those nasty humans when they're coming in and putting in their things like roads and stuff. You can suddenly start to block people off. You put down things to, take out the animal species and hand them back to other people. So there's a little bit of the take that, but not a lot. Most of it is just trying to make sure that you're putting your things down and being able to find places for your animals where they're going to find food sources. I mean, that's what the whole thing is. It's called Hungry Life because you were trying to just give your animals things to eat. And you'll see that when I show you how it's played in just a moment. But it's it's a fun game, and you just really, a lot of it comes down to matching symbols and the strategies of what you're doing to try, like I say, plan for advanced turns in the future. And you have certain cards which can be played at other times. When do you play those to try to maximize their effect to help you, etc., etc. So a lot going on in the game, and some really good decision-making things. So I find that fun myself. So I'll give it the B. For time, I'm going to give the game a B. It says it plays between 25 to 45 minutes, and I think that's about right. So it's the kind of game that you could be playing easily if you're doing like a board game club before or after school. It's not so long that's going to be a problem with that. Even during a class time, for a science period or something, it could definitely be something you can integrate into the period. Indoor recess, I think there's a lot of opportunity to be playing this game. It's quick enough that it can be done. And the cleanup and the setup is very easy because you are simply just dealing out the cards, and when you're done, you put away the cards. So there's no boards, there's no dice, there's nothing else that requires complicated setup. So B. For cost, I don't know. I can't give it a grade right now because I just got this one from Kickstarter. So I don't know what it's going to be costing retail. I can't imagine it's going to be much though, as I said, because it doesn't have any sort of plastic or wooden or anything else, components like that. I mean, actually I say plastic, but one thing I noticed too is that they talk here about that they use like ecological sources, and then they printed this with 100% solar energy. I'm not really sure what that means to be printing it with 100% solar energy, but I'd be curious to find out. And so maybe one of these days when I actually get around to doing some interviews, maybe I'll interview Sharkee Games if they're up for it, and can ask these kinds of questions because I'd like to know more. Yeah, as I say, there's only cards in here. There's nothing else that would help to raise the cost. So it's going to probably be a very inexpensive game. And for the amount of information that you're getting in here, it's amazing. And for the replayability, because again, if you're going to only play the game once, then it's cost can be the value suddenly goes down. But this kind of game, I see it being one that would be played many times. So I definitely think the value is there. So tentatively, I'm going to give the value like an A+, because I think it's not going to be expensive, and I think the replayability will be high, and what you're getting out of it is going to be a lot. So my tentative A+, but really not sure until I see the manufacturer's suggested retail price. All right, let's take it to the table, and I will show you how this game is played. So this would be your setup for a 4-player game of Hungry Life North America. Every player in a 4-player game is going to have 15 cards, and then they're going to draw a hand of 5 cards. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move these to the side just to allow for some room in the center here to show how the game would be played. So the first player is going to play the first card onto the board, and so they're going to look through their hand, and like I say, you have all these wonderful pictures of animals and things here, show all these different things. So you're looking for either a producer or a human development thing, where the humans have built something, and then where you can sort of branch off of that. So for a producer, you're looking at this here, which is the trophic level. The trophic level 1 would be your producer. So producers are plants. They only produce, they don't eat anything. So here we have cranberries. So the higher the number, it goes all the way up to 5. 5 would be your apex predator. And you see here, the fox, this shows all the different kinds of things that the fox is going to eat. So the fox's symbol is like that. So the fox will eat any of these things. So if we look at the snail is a snail there. Does a fox eat a snail? Yes, it does. There's a snail symbol there, so the fox will eat the snail. So it's something we can consider for the future. So we have decaying matter, and we have cranberries. So just to make sure that we're not going to harm ourselves. So we see here that the decaying matter is this light greenish, looks almost like mushrooms there. And we see that our spiny cheek crayfish eats that. So you're only playing 1 card in a turn. So we're going to put that one down, and that starts to set up our board here. So now the next player is going to go. So the next player looks at their cards, and they've got a bull jumper, a controlled fire, which is going to destroy the top animal of the habitat. So there's no animals yet in the habitat. This fish here won't eat the decaying matter. This one won't eat it, and the snake won't eat it. So this player cannot play on our decaying matter right now, which is one of the reasons why that might have been a good card to play at the beginning, because it means that it's not an easy one to pair off. I think more animals will eat the cranberries than they will eat the decaying matter. So this player is then going to discard one of their cards. So I'm looking at the 2 fish here. So the fish is a 3. They're both 3s on the trophic level. They both eat 3 things. So I'm going to get rid of one of the fish. All right, so what I do is you start a discard pile, and I'm just going to put the discard pile over here, and they gain 1 card back again. So they have a dam now. Okay. We go back to now we'll go to this player. Okay, so they have a tiger salamander, doesn't eat the decaying matter. A drought, the top animal card of any habitat is destroyed, so there's again nothing there yet. A cold wave, no primary producers can be played for the next round. Alligators don't eat the decaying matter. Monarch butterfly doesn't eat the decaying matter. So decaying matter is a tough one to play down. So this player is going to discard one. The monarch butterfly only eats honey, or nectar. So we're going to get rid of that one and put this one out. And then we go to the next player. And then there's a heat wave, destroy an apex predator and a tertiary consumer in a selected habitat. Blizzard, earthquake. Wow, they got a lot of different things there. A lot of. So these are natural events. And these natural events can be played at any time. They don't have to be played just on your turn. The player after you skips their turn. Okay, so they may play that just to be a jerk. So that they play the blizzard, and it goes into the thing. Now, earthquake, they can move this position of the players around to have it, and so they're unable to play. So again, they're going to discard a card and gain a card. So then they get tree bark, which is going to be another primary consumer. So this player skips, go over to this player, and they have the dam, destroy habitat, and keep any one card for yourself. There's no point in destroying that habitat because there's still nothing there. So they're going to get rid of a card and draw a card. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have played that one. Okay, so here now this player can play down a road network. So the road network goes here, and this is going to stop animals from moving around. And once we start to get more habitats out, you'll see what that means. So because this player played, they don't have to pull up any more cards. And then this player here, and you always draw back up to 5 cards. So this player played one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're going to put now, this road is going to stop animals from moving to anything that's adjacent to it. So this player is going to put the tree bark on this side. So this one's going to be unaffected by the road because it's not touching the road. Adjacent even includes diagonals to the road. All right, so that's that one. So tree bark has been played. I'm going to come back to this player. They have the 4, and now they get to play their crayfish. So they put that one down. So the crayfish is now eating that decaying matter. So we have a 2-on-1. And we can have any trophic level as long as it's equal to or greater than the one that's currently there. And it has to, of course, eat whatever it is. So this one now we're looking for things that eat the crab things. So we look there, no crab. This one eats crab. And this one eats crab. The walleye is a 5. So the walleye is a apex predator. So maybe we want to hold on to that one for now. And we'll put this bluegill onto the thing. So the bluegill is now eating that. And then this player goes. Now that would have eaten the decaying matter, but there's no decaying matter and doesn't eat the tree bark. So let's see what we have. The alligator. Okay, so this fish is the yellow and orange, and it eats orange and green fish. So yes, it will definitely eat that. And that alligator is an apex predator, so nothing can go on top of the alligator now. Okay, and then on to the next player. Okay, so this player is going to play roots. Put the roots here, trying to stay away from the road. This player is going to play cranberries. We'll play the cranberries again, trying to stay away from the road. So when these human developments go down, you're going to do what it says there. So this one is going to destroy the habitat, and you're going to keep this in place. And because like a lot of times you play the card and it goes back. So this road work says it stays in place. So this one's going to go here. So you destroy that habitat, everything that's there, and you keep one card for yourself. So he's going to keep that alligator. Okay, so eating the cranberry. The fox will eat that. Okay, now this player is playing the deer. And so this whole board is going to grow and develop as it goes. Now what you want to look for too is these opportunities where things can move around to eat. So you can open up opportunities. So let's say I want to play this bald eagle card and I really want it up here for whatever reason. So what I can do is I can move this alligator down to any other spot where it can go. It has to be drawn to another food source. So we see here that the hoof is here, which matches the elk. So I can move the alligator down from the elk to there, and now I can put the bald eagle there, and he's going to eat the fox. So now I have another one there. And then say later in the game, the hispid cotton rat comes down here, so he's eating those roots. If I want to, I can move any bird card from anywhere on the board to that space as long as the trophic level is higher than the animal it's going to eat, and then the things have to match. So in this case, the bald eagle will most certainly eat this cotton rat, so it comes down there, which then opens up the fox again. Okay, and then maybe in a later turn, something else is down where the fox, so let's just say, for example, this owl was here, and the fox matches the yellow part of the owl there, and it goes to the fox. Okay, and then you can open up for something to eat the rabbit again. So things start to open up and develop, but you first need to have that producer down where the first animal is going to be attracted there, and then other animals are coming to attracted to eat that animal, and so on and so on. Then the food chain sort of develops. Again, these human developments really throw a wrench into things where they start to mess up with your plans and start to do things. So like here with the road network, animals cannot travel. So if these were over here, then the alligator could not have moved down. So if the elk was here and the alligator was here, so if this is the situation, the alligator couldn't move down here because of the road network. So anything that's adjacent to the road, the animals can't change their location. Now, birds are unaffected. The eagle can fly wherever it wants to. It's not affected by the road network. But every player keeps playing their cards. If you can't play, you discard a card and take one from the discard pile, from the draw pile over here, because everybody has to get rid of the same number of cards. And you keep playing until one player is finally able to get rid of their full hand, as well as all the cards, the 15 cards that they started with, and that player is declared the winner. And that is how you play Hungry Life, North America. And as a bonus note, here's the things I was talking about earlier. So again, not only getting all the information about the kinds of foods that an eagle will eat, you see it's quite an adventurous eater. Its trophic level, so you know that eagles are apex predators, has the Latin name for the eagle under here, its own classification, but then it has all this information on the side here. So eagles live 20 years. Their wingspan is 1.3 to 2.3 meters. 1.8 to 2.3 meters. Their weight is 3 to 6.3 kilograms. Their population is unknown, but the green arrow here indicates that it is on the rise. And the LC here means least concern. So we're not concerned for the eagle's extinction. They're not endangered or anything. They are doing quite well. Also, for people who want to learn more, do more to help animals, so on the rules here, and if you want to help out more and learn what else you can do to help the animals, they do have some charities and organizations here which are dedicated to helping wildlife, so you can check those out. Lots of great information, glossary for different things to talk about here, as I say, the trophic levels, and even a little QR code for some more resources. Okay, let me take you to my final thoughts. So, Hungry Life. What a neat little game. What an amazing amount of information wrapped up into this tiny little box. Like I said, reminds me of Tiny Polka Dot in that regard. Like, for such a small box to be containing so much information, so much potential. One thing, like I said, you could be doing with it definitely is using this to spark some inquiries in a science class. As you're playing the game, students start to get interested, maybe learning about animals that they didn't know about, start to realize some things here and there about like endangered animals and things, and maybe start to do some projects of curiosity and interest in that. Like I said, you could sort all the animals that are endangered, all the animals that are different levels of endangerment, learning about the different levels of endangerment, or maybe just picking an animal that you like and doing a report on that. I mean, there's all kinds of things. I also think back to when I was a kid playing this game called War, and where it was a war. Sorry, it was a game that had cars, and the cars had all the statistics on it, like top speed, number of gears in the car, gas mileage. I don't know. It had all these different stats on it, and you would pick something. So if you had like the Lamborghini, and you'd say, okay, top speed, because that was your highest number. And the other player would have everybody sort of pulls up one card. You say, okay, top speed, and then the other player says their top speed, and you match, and whoever has the higher wins, and you get those cards. So it's just trying to gain all the cards by naming whatever statistic you thought was the highest. So you can do the same thing with this one, where you are naming a statistic on the card that you think is going to be the highest one on your card, and see if you can beat the other players with your highest statistic. And again, that way you could be using those stats to learn a little bit more about them. They're there. It's such a shame that they're not used in the game, but I mean, the fact that they are there is just wonderful, because it's like I said, you're playing the game to have fun, but when the information is there, you start to notice it. You start to pick up on some things, and maybe it will spark some more interest, and you can just sort of take that moment as a teacher and roll with it and see where you can go with that. And that's the kind of thing I love about this game. It's not like trying to beat you over the head, like let's memorize facts and things, but it's there, and if you want to learn more, you can. And it's kind of the soft sell to it. It's just pushing you slowly towards it, and maybe some kids are going to pick up on that. That's the kind of thing we teachers look for. So I absolutely recommend this game. As I say, I'm not sure if and when. No, I'm not sure when it's going to be coming out in stores just yet, because I only just received my copy from Kickstarter. If you would like me to do a review on the Europe one, I can look into getting that one as well. And as I say, hopefully Sharkee Life will do some more for the other continents of the world, as to share us more information about different animals. So if you're new to the channel, what I'm doing is I'm putting out content on a weekly basis on topics of gamification and game-based learning. I'm reviewing games such as Hungry Life and other games which are educational in nature, or maybe even not so educational in nature, but are, by playing them, students are going to learn. I know myself, I was a very poor student when I was younger, particularly in my mathematics, but by playing games, my math skills developed, and I feel I'm a very capable mathematician now as I'm an adult. And I attribute that to the play of games. And as a teacher, I've always made this a big part of my classroom pedagogy, that I am using games and gamification in the classroom as much as I can. And I just want to share my experiences with you, other teachers and parents and whomever is watching this channel, to learn about ways that we can educate people in our lives, whether they're kids or other adults or ourselves. If this sounds good to you, then please do remember to hit like and subscribe down below, even the little bell icon to remind you of when the new content is coming out, which, like I said, is on a weekly basis. Do really appreciate all of the subscribers, and it really does help the channel, so thank you. And that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Until next time, I'm Craig Thompson, with your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Back to school with me. We could